You know, I haven't talked about the PS2 much on this channel, and that's pretty strange because it's actually one of my favourite consoles. Sony just got everything about it right. Shame they haven't been able to do anything on the same level since. But anyway, there are a lot of PS2 games that never came to North America or Europe and just wasted away in Japan. A lot of these were shmups or fighters, and there were also a lot of Japan-centric kind of games. And then there's the downright weird ones like Super Galdelikawa. I can see exactly why we never got this one. But somewhere in that mix lies a game called Poinie's Poin. Sony announced this themselves for the Tokyo Game Show in 2001, but it never came out in the West. There's actually little information on the game available, and what you can get is hazy at best. It was released in 2002 and developed by a company called Albion. Apparently they've made very little on their own, but they've assisted on quite a few projects. They might be alright. I mean, I like Platinum Games, I like Ape Escape, these guys are probably cool. So like the well-adjusted and not dumb person I am, I imported a copy. I mean, who knows, I may have an undiscovered gem on my hands. Just gotta get the Oh no. I did a bad thing. The intro movie kinda sets this up as a kiddie game. There's bright colours, kids bop the vocals, and our hero running around after some sort of eclair dog, and there's some gratuitous English. Yeah, I'm skipping this.
The future of Poin rests in his hands.
Okay, when did this game become about space pirates? What is happening? Who are these characters? Bon Jovi?
You can't touch this.
You can't touch this? MC Hammer's space pirate? But what? Bon Jovi?
It's my
Oh, it was the show he was watching. Okay, that's fine. Aside from one of the weirdest ways to open up a game ever, here's where we're introduced to our character's catchphrase.
Yippee-yo! You can't touch this!
Now you should be noticing something right now.
Alex, you said this was a Japanese exclusive. Why is this whole game in English?
I'm not playing with a fan translation or anything, don't worry. Poinie's Poin has a full English mode. All the NPCs are dubbed, all the text is translated, no knowledge of Japanese is required for this game. It makes me wonder why this never came out anywhere else. They had it ready to go for an American release at the very least. But anyway, you're dumped off in the game's hub world, Jellytown.
The happening happy non-stop party on dude kinda town, dude.
Yeah, it's that. So you're kinda left to run around town until you come across this manhole. And this is where shit gets real. So this chick is getting chased by this chick, and these cats, and that one's a giant. Wow. Poinie's about as freaked out as I am right now, gonna be honest. But after seeing a poster for, not Wario, he decides to take the plunge and face the problem head on like a man. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work out. They end up in the sewers. Sorry. And this is the point where Poinie realizes he has no idea where he lives or where his mother is.
Mommy? Where? Mommy? She's gone.
Because Poinie's a dumbass. This chick is Lilin, and this is a living Poin she's attached to your arse, because Japan. And good god is he saying some inappropriate stuff.
But I ain't playing witness to some weird-ass second sucker.
Poinie's Poin may look like a game made for young kids, but sometimes the dialogue can get very, very rude. While in Western games that's often done in a subtle, tongue-in-cheek manner, Poinie's Poin is incredibly on the nose about it. Call it culture shock, but I honestly wasn't expecting that the first time around, and it still catches me off guard sometimes. Regardless, a babe in need is a babe indeed. We agree to help Lilin and the rest of the town out in exchange for her helping us find our way home. Anyway, here is where the rest of the game really begins. I mentioned the living Poin, but I haven't really talked about what Poins are or what they do. They're these weird round balls of various colours that Poinie can pick up and throw at other characters. Yellow ones make them jump for joy, red ones send them into a frenzied rage, and blue ones make them weep their hearts out. You can mix poins as well by throwing them together, and they'll make the remaining colour if you do this, and to nullify an emotion you need to throw a poin of the same colour at the character. It's easy to get the hang of in-game. And to be honest, the gameplay as a whole's really simple. There aren't many things that can hurt you, and there aren't many conventional enemies to speak of aside from the bosses. Instead, you're more likely to deal with random NPCs all whacked out with feelings that you've got to nullify. These guys are all over the place in every level, but they don't really do much other than occasionally lock a door, open a path, or help you out during a boss fight, so it's almost not worth helping them out and just running past. After a short tutorial in the amazing land of nasty sewerage, we end up encountering the other girl again. Turns out her aim is to drive the town bonkers, and she aims to do this with the help of her pet cats, the Hellnyows, and toxic poins that make their victim violent. Speaking of victims, first up's Lilin. Have fun. You get a basic grip for how a lot of the boss fights are gonna go here. Like, you just neutralize the emotion in front of that gauge on the right a few times, and eventually she returns to normal. From here on out, the progression of the game is very simple. Go find the next thing, meet some characters, and fight them sometimes. The way you do this is quite standard. Run with the analog stick, X to jump, square to pick up points, and hold X while jumping with a point to glide a little. There's not much in the way of difficult platforming, and falling down a pit just takes a chunk off your life bar, but it does set you quite a way back, and on some levels running through areas you've already been through without any threat can get really tedious. In addition, there's no way to control the camera aside from setting it directly behind Poinie, and switching to the always directly behind camera can often screw you over more than it can save you. Sometimes the camera decides to switch to a semi-overhead view, and despite what you would think, it's extremely hard to tell where you are in a jump when the camera does this. There is one other major gripe I have though, and that's when you have to find keys. Sometimes the game makes you go back to a place you've already been to pick up a key for something else. These parts really fucking suck. I said the progression of the game is simple, yeah, but this throws a spanner in the works when you have to go back to somewhere you've just been to. Especially when I can see where the key would be on my first run through of the level and I want to pick it up then, but I can't yet. And then there's moments like these where I have to go back and get a key for this dog and then...
I'm so sorry, I just spit out a dog!
I will fucking end your life. It's not all bad though. Poin's art style is vibrant and takes a sorta kinda cel-shaded approach. Even in darker levels like Bullcook's kitchen, the sewers, and Halloween's mansion, the game remains colourful and pleasant to look at. There's no outlines like most cel-shaded games, but it's soft and flat looking all the same, and that gives it a sort of pastel look that's very much inoffensive. As for the music, I can't honestly say anything sticks out in particular. Aside from the main theme's melody, there isn't anything that will stick with you after you turn off your PS2. It does a nice job of capturing the atmosphere. Panorama Garden sounds bright and bouncy, the mansion sounds spooky, John's Lake sounds like a sort of beach oasis, but it's not something you'll be jamming out to at the bus stop like an idiot. Anyway, the rest of the story isn't really worth talking about. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's presented in a nice manner, but nothing really gets resolved. Poinie helps out all the townspeople, all of which say they'll help him find out where his house is and promptly don't because they have no idea and they're lying cunts. And some characters seem to be thrown in for no discernible reason whatsoever, like the old train Edgar who appears in the opening cinematic, yet he is in the game for exactly one cutscene. I mean, the way he's thrown in and the mention of a race from Pierre make it seem as if there was more planned for this guy, but this is a running theme. Barbary, the monster who lives in the sewers? One boss fight, nothing else, never mentioned again. The whole section in the snow is completely unnecessary and does nothing to further the plot. And why does the whole section in Halloween's mansion even happen? So that he can tell you, oh, Lolo's working with Pierre. That's it. A cutscene would have done just fine. You didn't need to make me do the freaky puzzle shit. Eventually, as things progress, you end up on planet Poin with Lilin, trying to stop Lolo and Pierre from launching a giant poison Poin at Jellytown and turning everyone insane. And after what might be one of the most disappointing boss fights in the game, you don't manage it. You have to head back to Earth and whoa. You know, Poinie, you fucked up. If half the adults on your quest weren't lying pieces of shit, I mean, yeah, this probably wouldn't have happened, but regardless, you're still fucked up. Oh, you know who caused all this destruction and mayhem? Poinie's mother! What a coincidence!
Whoa, Poinie! Your mom is bitchin'!
You see what I mean? Tom, you can't say that. This might possibly be a kid's game. No! But yeah, the boss fight with Poinie's mother is really easy. Get one of these guys to run into her, and then when she's down, throw a point at her hair. I don't get it either. But eventually, the gang run out of points! Except for one.
Use me. I mean, after all, I'm a Poin. Use me and save your mom.
That's right, our living Poin friend volunteers for himself to be used in order to quell the bitchin' rampaging mom.
No worries, hun. A babe in need is a babe indeed.
Holy shit. You actually made that line sound cool this time. No, good on you. And so our noble living Poin sacrifices himself for the good of Jellytown. Poinie is reunited with his mother, Lolo and Lilin kiss and make up, Pierre's been defeated, but at what cost? That living Poin was a true American hero, a champion of courage and righteousness who challenged convention and stayed bold in the face of danger. He believed in freedom of speech, he wasn't afraid to voice his mind and face adversity head on, and he died for a righteous and just cause. For this, we shall always remember him. He did not die in vain. Oh yeah, he kind of fucking comes back after the credits, doesn't he? Can I recommend this game? Well, the problem is, I have no idea who it's aimed at. For someone like me, the whole experience clocked in at just under 4 hours, and sure, I mean I didn't collect everything, but even so, the whole game was very short and easy. And that's not even mentioning how the characters are mostly young kids, the aesthetics and feel of the game are bright and cartoony, and just in general, this game seems like it was made for children. Then you have Tom calling Poinie's mother bitchin', you have inappropriate references up the wazoo. If you're into the novelty of playing a Japanese kids game with all the cultural differences and general naughtiness that entails, then Poinie's Poin should give you a good time. But by the time you beat it, you won't want to play it again, and it doesn't take long to beat it. The platforming's incredibly standard, the plot is held together with chewed up bubblegum and hope, the music is bland, there's the weird camera and some of the really unnecessary time wasting, but the presentation is charming enough and the way everyone's characterized is enjoyable. Poinie's Poin is acceptable if you can get past its kiddie nature and its slightly low difficulty, but I wouldn't recommend getting your PS2 modded just so that you can play this game. And I definitely wouldn't recommend it for its normal asking price. I managed to get lucky, I got it for less than £5, but yeah, 20 bucks, 15 quid maximum, go for it. But otherwise, you know, you're not missing out on that much. All in all, Poinie's Poin isn't a bad game, just one that could have been a lot better. I wouldn't go out of your way to play it, but if you happen to find it for particularly cheap, it's a good addition to your collection.